David Watts on Mix 93.8.
What's Involved, proudly brought to you by the Cradle Boutique Hotel. My special guest in studio, as we do each and every last Monday of the month, from Retire Rich and Happy, the CEO, Lourens Oberholzer. How's it, Lourens?
Hey, good in you, Dave.
Good. I must say, you're looking a little bit more
casual today.
Laid back and casual today.
I thought you're not going to mention it because I'm on radio.
Just every time you make me feel underdressed, because he's always dressed impeccably. So nice to see you here tonight. I got to say, and let's just get this out of the way, a total disclaimer,
yes.
Is I was initially, when we first met,
yes.
I was a skeptic.
I like skeptics.
I will be honest. And you invited me several times to the forum, and I was like, eventually we sort of went.
Yeah, Helene pulled you there, forced you to go.
She encouraged me to go. So I arrived there after a flashback Friday, hanging like a stick of biltong. But I got to say, to this point, and this is my personal view, the sort of service you guys have given and what you've done and helped us out with and everything has been absolutely incredible. And we just sort of at the beginning of the journey, but so much stuff makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't speak sort of financialese and legalese to people, and it makes sense. And I have, in my personal capacity, become somewhat of an evangelist for you.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Thank you very much. Yeah.
But listen, it's actually incredible. And you know what? You take a subject which a lot of us, and I've spoken to a lot of people, we end up in these situations and we kind of don't know what to do, and we don't want to acknowledge it. We got that ostrich syndrome where, if we stick our head under the ground and, it's all going to go away. The sad part is it doesn't.
And we tend to think it's only us that don't know.
Yes.
So we don't want to say that we don't know, because it's only us. Everybody else knows, and actually nobody knows.
Yeah. So what we decided to do tonight, and it's a process. We've only just started the process. Yes. And it's a process. This is not something that if you join Lourens and his team, it's not something that's going to, it's not a couple of weeks or a couple of months. It is a process, but it is a step-by-step process, and it works.
We tell people that it's a 10-year journey. You have to commit for 10 years. And I know 10 years sounds like really 10 years.
Yeah.
Most people take a 40-year journey. They get to retirement. Still 96% of them can't retire. So we're saying take that and make it a 10-year journey, because people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade.
Yeah.
Most billionaires gets created over a 10-year period. So if somebody can become a billionaire in 10 years, you can sort out your finances and become financially secure in 10 years. It's just building that momentum.
Indeed, and the best time to have started with this kind of thing was 10 years ago.
Then you would have been there already.
The next best time is now.
Now, exactly.
The great news is one of the things we like to do is give value. So Lourens is going to be giving away a couple of prizes. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But the first, and I think the most important thing, is something that you refer to as moving your zero back to zero. And the first time you said it, I'm like, zero is zero. What are you on about? Let's talk about that.
Yes. Yeah. So moving your zero back to zero is one of the things that we teach people, because and it's a very difficult thing to explain over the radio, so I'm going to try my best, because usually I draw pictures. So what happens is, when we start working, when we have zero money in the bank, when our bank balance is zero, we have zero money available. That's it. Zero is zero.
Yes.
Then what happens is we earn money, so we go into the positive, and we spend money back down to zero, and then we earn and we spend and we earn and we spend. And then after a couple of months, the bank goes, yes, you are such a great client. We'll give you a credit card with a 5,000 Rand credit limit. And you go, oh, now I'm an adult. I've got a credit card, but I'm not going to spend it unless it's an emergency. So 3 months later, what happens? Your zero is now at minus 5,000. So now you want to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, because you had a lot of emergencies in the meantime.
Suddenly a lot of emergencies pop up. Yes.
Yeah.
So now you're at minus 5,000. And then you do exactly the same thing. You earn and you spend down to minus 5,000. You earn and you spend and you earn and you spend.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing exactly the same thing. The only difference is now the bank's making money from you earning and spending. Instead of where you were at zero, you were earning and spending and using your own money.
Yeah.
And that thing continues over time. And then our zero moves to minus 5,000, minus 10, minus 20, minus 100, wherever people are. So one of the first things we need to look at is how do we get people to move their zero back to zero? Because people look at their credit cards as their security, but actually it's not. It's just you're living in a minus 20,000 or a minus 50,000 Rand world.
But now what happens, and I mean, we spoke about this, and I'm happy to share this as well. I'd love to hear from you guys as well, by the way. SMS line 41348. SMS is charged at R1.50. Otherwise, WhatsApp us 084 822 0938. Everybody that listens to the show has gotten to know I'm not afraid to sort of air my dirty laundry and to share. Sometimes I get home and I get told that I'm oversharing, but when I was doing this, and I've been involved in business, I like to say I've been self-employed, but I've actually been working for financial institutions and the government for quite a long time. And what I used to do is I would try and fund the business and do all of this bits and pieces. Cards. And at the stage that I was running the previous iteration of my business, that was at the time they were giving out credit cards like sweets. I mean, every second time you looked, they were giving you a credit card.
Yeah.
And this was brilliant.
Because you can fund your business through that.
They then give you a credit card to do this, then a credit card to do that, and then suddenly, your clothing accounts and your sort of other big shopping place accounts, they keep telling you how wonderful you are because you're paying the minimum amount every month.
Card, yeah.
And what these lovely people then do is they give you more credit.
Yes, because you've been paying it so well.
And it always amazes me that they call it credit, because it's not. So I ended up with about 7 credit cards plus various accounts.
Yeah, and then you start using the one to pay the other one.
Yeah, and you know what? It is a scary, scary place to be.
Yes.
A very scary place to be. Yeah. So I at that stage, and then I'll tell you my story. I mean, I then went under debt review.
Yes.
And the debt counselors that I had took my money faithfully every month and absconded.
Yeah, that happens as well.
Yes, I had to sort myself out, and it's taken a very long time. The bonus for me, which we discussed the other day, is that at this stage of life, my zero is genuinely zero. Not because I've been fantastic, or because I did everything wrong.
Yes.
And I lost everything. Okay, let's just be very clear about that. But there is
so by default, your zero became zero again.
Yes. Not by intent, and it's not a journey I would recommend to anybody.
Yes.
But you can do this.
Yes.
I mean, you've explained to us exactly
how to move your zero back to zero.
What the process is. So let's start going through that, because I know there's people that are listening now going, there ain't no way.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Most people have debt, but they have no concerted or structured plan to get themselves out of debt, because they sort of have given up on the idea of never having debt. And I'm not talking all debt. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a bond. There's nothing wrong with paying your car. What I'm talking about is getting rid of that unsecured debt, the credit card, the personal loans, the overdrafts, those kind of things.
Does this include the clothing accounts?
Clothing accounts.
Accounts at these people that give groceries out and things like that?
Yes, because unsecured debt is any debt that is not underwritten by an asset. Okay. A car is underwritten by the car. A bond is underwritten by the property. So your debt there is much cheaper because the rate that you're paying, your interest rate is much lower. Mm-hmm. The moment you go into unsecured, where basically the bank or whoever gives you the money doesn't have an asset that underlines the debt, it becomes very expensive debt because their risk is higher, therefore they charge you more. That's the debt we want to get rid of.
Uh-huh.
So I see so many people that are paying 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 Rand a month into a retirement annuity or an endowment, but then they're paying 4,000, 5,000 Rand on a personal loan or a credit card. So on the endowment, they may be getting 9%, not at this stage, but maybe getting 9% return. But on the personal loan, they're paying 22%.
Yeah.
So why are you earning 9 and paying 22? First, get rid of the 22, take all that cash flow and start building assets from there. So we try and get people to get rid of that debt, build a plan to get there. And I'll go through how we do that.
All right, but before we do that, just something that's just come in, and I can so relate. Okay, been there, done that. Have funded my business from my personal account. Am now in a very bad place. Is there help to get me out of this mess? Hang on, let me read the rest. Is there help to get me out of this mess without getting into deeper? I'm going to say it, into deeper crap. I want my zero to be zero again. And well done. I'm not going to mention a name. I don't know if you would allow me to, but well done to you. I just the first step is to sort of go, okay.
Admit,
We need to make a plan there. My guest in studio from Retire Rich and Happy, Lourens Oberholzer. We're talking how to get back to zero, and then we're going to move on to your financial coaching just now.
Yes.
So we're going to get into that, but before we do that, it is What's Involved each and every Monday night, brought to you courtesy of the Cradle Boutique Hotel.
David Watts on Mix 93.8.
Legendary Radio. It is What's Involved, proudly brought to you by the Cradle Boutique Hotel. Tonight, my guest in studio from Retire Rich and Happy, the CEO, Lourens Oberholzer. We're talking now about how to get your zero back to zero. And the question, listen, questions have come in here thick and fast,
Yes.
okay? So Monica said to us, she's in a very bad place. I said, Monica, we're going to make it up to him. Whoops. How about Lourens? You said during the break you wanted to do something to help her out.
Yeah, so she asked, is there any help? So definitely there is help. What I want to do, Monica, is we will give you a free VIP ticket to the next forum. It's on the 13th of April in Centurion. Please come and join me. Come and listen to what we do, how we teach. That's what you've been on as well.
Yeah.
How we teach you how to get rid of debt. We're going to talk through it now as well. But come there, because there we can show you pictures and really work with you. And you can meet up with me and I can chat with you a little bit.
So there we go. We've got your details here. I'm going to give them to Lourens. You'll do that. In terms of our competition, though, tonight, we're talking about getting back to zero, obviously, and then we're talking about something you're launching now called personal financial coaching. So talk to me about the prizes tonight.
Okay, yes. So we've launched the personal financial coaching about 2-3 months ago as a package, because we've seen that we can teach people these things in theory, but sometimes people battle to implement. So what happens now is you can get yourself a personal coach that helps you every step of the way.
Yeah.
And also are there for advice and all of that. So the packages that we're going to give away today, the 3 prizes, will include financial coaching, where you don't have to pay the setup fee. We'll waive the setup fee. So usually there's a setup fee with a small monthly fee. We will waive that setup fee. That's about 2,500 rands value that we waive.
Brilliant.
That's about a 3-hour session where we sit with you and we start building a plan for you moving forward.
Okay.
And then included in that, we'll also add a double VIP ticket to the forum. So you'll get the coaching, the setup fee waived, plus a free ticket to the forum on the 13th of April.
I'm telling you now, it's probably the best investment that you're going to make in a while. Really, really do it. Can't recommend it highly enough. So now, if you want to be in line to win this, you need to SMS RRH and your name to 45509 to stand a chance of winning one of those.
Yes, RRH in your name, 45509 is the SMS line.
And we're getting Lani now, because now you've got a WhatsApp.
We've got a WhatsApp as well, because we've seen that some people they only have those free SMSs, and then it doesn't come through. So they can WhatsApp us on 082 641 3555.
082 641 3555. Once again, on that WhatsApp, just send RRH and your name, okay?
They also welcome, if people have questions, I think one of the listeners also asked,
yes,
you are welcome to send me an email on my personal email.
Okay.
It's Lourens, Afrikaanse Lourens, Lourens, @ retirehappy.co.za.
There we go. Lourens at retirehappy.co.za. So what we're giving away is we're giving away 3 double tickets, 3 double VIP tickets to the forum, as well as those 3 coaching packages where the setup fee is waived. It is well worth it. You're going to randomly pick the 3 winners.
What we're going to do is we'll choose 3. Do you choose 3 numbers? Mm-hmm. Because I usually choose 3 random numbers. Give me 3 numbers. Let's see who's going to win.
7, 13, and 21.
7, 13, and 21. So the 7th, the 13th, and the 21st person that SMSs or WhatsApps.
Look how confident I am. I'm going, you're going to get 21 messages. Send him messages, okay, whatever you do. Okay, so that was answered. Now, the other question that we got, and then we'll get back into getting to zero. We also underwent debt review. 60K was the start. Paid over 30K in a year, but our balance was still 51K. Cancelled that and settled our debt ourselves. Don't do debt review, they say. And then the follow-up question is, where did the 21K go? Can we do anything? Yeah, guys, I don't know.
So there's not a lot that you can do once you've done that, because what happens with debt review, and that's why I always say to people, I mean, everything has pros and cons. I'll never say something is completely bad or completely good. Everything is there for a purpose.
Yeah.
But a debt review for me is absolutely the last chance saloon before you go into sequestration. So that is the last thing you do. People run to debt review too quickly because they're too scared to try and sort out their debt on their own, and then they run to debt review as if that's going to be the solution. And most times it puts you in a worse situation than you were in.
Because let's understand this clearly. Once you undergo debt review, that means your credit cards are automatically cancelled, all of your accounts, etc., you're allowed one bank account.
Yes.
And you cannot have any other accounts for whatever period that you're under review or until that debt is paid off.
Plus, what happens is there's usually an initiation fee, which is about 1 month's worth of premiums or payments that you've made. So after you've gone on to debt review, you're another month behind. You're taking a step backwards before you can even start taking a step forward. So I feel that there's a lot more than people can do before they get into debt review if they just start working this plan on getting their zero back to zero.
And also, I got to say, if you went into debt review for 60K, you guys, well done. Mine was
a little bit more.
Just a smidgen more than that. Yes, when I did it. So anyway, okay. So getting back to zero, where do we start? I've now got accounts, and I've got clothing accounts and this account and that account and 3 credit cards. Where do I start?
Okay, so the first thing you need to do, and this is completely not counterintuitive, but it's completely away from debt, because people think you start with the debt. You don't start with the debt. You start by taking control of your expenses first, because there's a reason you got into debt, and that reason is usually that you haven't budgeted properly. You don't have control over your cash flow.
Too much month at the end of your money.
Exactly that. And it's because people aren't aware. We've done some research, and over 65% of people have no budget. They literally have money coming into the account, and then debit orders go off, and they live off the rest. They have no budget, no plan. About 32% of people have a basic budget, and that's most of us, the middle class, have a basic budget where they say, I've got a list written down of all my big expenses. I know what the car is, I know what the house payments are, I know what I have to pay on my credit card, but we never budget for the unforeseen and annual and those kind of expenses. And only 3% of people have an in-depth budget that doesn't only plan for foreseen but also unforeseen expenses. And that 3% has more financial security than the other 97% combined.
And the weird thing is that over time you end up, and we've been through this, that you sign up for this policy, that policy, you get this, you change that, you get this, and when it comes to looking at your expenses, there are chances are they're going to be sacrifices that need to be made.
You're going to have to,
and it's got to be a decision. Is the DSTV absolutely essential? Is this? Oftentimes, you can also correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, there are ways to save money on your car repayments as well.
There's a lot of things that can be done.
Even your sort of household budget, water, lights, those kind of things. Now, when you go to the forum, you have tools that help you with budget.
So we have what we call a strategic expense planning tool, and the key there is strategic, because it's not just about depriving you of everything fun in your life. So now you're not allowed to buy a chocolate anymore. You're not allowed to take your kids out for dinner once. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is become aware first and foremost of where your money is going. Most of us are not aware what we're spending money on. So the first thing the strategic expense planning tool does is it makes you aware. And the moment you become aware of where your money is going, you will immediately start cutting expenses because you just become aware. I've done it with another client or another student of ours the other day, and they were going through it, and within like first half an hour of going through the session, they saw that they were paying over R1,000 a month on bank charges for different banking accounts and all of that.
Yeah.
And they went, but why are we paying R1,000 a month on bank charges? And within 10 seconds, we could have changed that, and they paid R300 instead of R1,000. That was R700 saved.
But that is the secret then. You don't go $700 saved, yay, I'm going out for pizza.
Yes. So the first thing is we take control of your expenses. By doing a strategic expense planning, we need to understand the reason why you are in debt. So most people are in debt not because of one big thing that happens. It's small increments. That's how we get into debt. It's not 500,000 one shot. It's 10,000 here, 5,000 there. So we need to take control of that first. Then we need to create a positive cash flow. And that comes back to the strategic expense planning, where you start cutting unnecessary expenses. Things like takeaways. Go and have a look at how much you're spending. Coffee that you're spending every morning, every afternoon, stopping at the garage. Downgrade your cell phone account. I know people have these red cell phone accounts that gives them unlimited calls, but they only phone like 100 minutes a month. Go look at those things and see if you can't downgrade that. Re-look at your risk cover, for example. These policies that you talk about, where I call it the snowball effect. You get this guy, he sells you this policy, and then another one comes and sells you another one and another one and another one. And before you know it, you're spending like $3-4 a month, but they're not pulling in the same direction. Therefore, they're not really doing what you need. You could consolidate that and have for much less better cover in place.
And also, you talk about that. One of the other bad habits that I used to be in is I would not sort of, in terms of buying groceries, pop into the shop every day, every second day. Off you go to your local Spar, Woolies, Pick and Pay, whatever the case may be, and you walk up with a couple of bags.
Yes.
That can set you back $1.5 at a time.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you don't think about that. But when you actually start to plan it, or when you start adding up those slips, which is an exercise that we did.
Yes.
You sit back and you go, holy guacamole, Batman.
Where's the money? Yeah. When you become aware, it's so much easier to just start cutting some of that expenses, because it's just the awareness makes so much difference. About 80% of getting a positive cash flow is just being aware of where the money's going.
Anyway, sorry, Lourens. Let's just get back and ask this. The guy said about their debt review, okay? Yep. The 21K they lost, okay? Yes. So they cancelled it. They paid their debt off. What do they do about that money? Can they do anything?
If that is, it depends on where the money was, why the money was spent. Was it because of the fee for the debt counselor? Was it interest? It's very difficult for me to say what they can do if I don't know exactly where the money's gone. Yeah. If it was interest, it's interest. If it was the fee for the debt counselor, they are regulated for the fees that they are allowed to charge. Yeah. It all depends on if it was declared and what it was for. So they're welcome to send me an email. I'll have a look at it and then see if there is something that they can do. But it's difficult if I only have some of the information.
You need all of it. Okay. Yeah. Just a reminder, the competition's still up and running. You could win 3 double VIP tickets to the forum, as well as 3 coaching packages where Lourens and his team will waive the setup fee. So that's a value of $2,500. All you got to do, retire. You got to send an SMS. You got to send RRH and your name to 45509. RRH and your name 45509, or you can WhatsApp 082 641 3555 082 641 3555, and on that WhatsApp RRH and your name as well. We will randomly draw those. I gave Lourens the numbers that we're going to do.
Yes,
this is touching a nerve tonight. Okay, we got a lot of emails in. Okay, so long story short.
It's funny how pain makes people react much more than pleasure does.
I got taken for a ride by a person who somehow got me to max out 2 credit cards and took me for more than 60K.
Sure.
Don't worry, I've given myself many a talking to since then. I know the feeling. Anyway, I put the 2 cards away 2013, been paying them off ever since, but only paid the minimum each time. I got them all the way down to about 7K each, and even though I was eventually able to pay them off in full, I never did. I went to one of Lourens's weekend forums. He walked you through the steps. I realized that I had some savings, but was still paying off the damn credit cards. I came home the next day. I paid off all my credit cards in full. It was an awesome feeling, and now I can continue saving as I freed up almost 1,500 Rand a month.
Yeah.
Now I need to make a decision about whether to sell a property that I own. The current tenant is leaving, and I don't want to deal with the problems that come with being a landlord.
Yeah.
Is it silly to sell a property? Any advice?
Okay, so from my point of view, selling your property is always my last choice.
Yeah.
I try everything else to keep it before we sell it.
Yeah.
That's always my advice is let's first try and see whatever we can do to keep that property, because that property is an asset that can generate income. And that's the holy grail. You want income generating assets if you want to retire. And that's one of those.
So I'm going to use your name because you put a smiley face next to it. So, and Kerry also says glad that your show's being extended. She's been to the forum, okay?
Yes.
Kerry, take my advice, spend some more time with Lourens and the team, find out what you can do there.
Yeah.
I know owning a property is the way to go.
Yes.
Everybody's talking about the economy, and I've got a very positive outlook. So I think that's good. Somebody else says there's a cool app called 22/7. It accesses your banking, tells you what you're spending your money on and what percentage. It also allows you to adjust your budget. Pretty cool. Check it out. 22/7. So there you go.
Okay.
You know about that?
No, I don't know
Never
that
heard
one.
of it.
I know about some of those apps.
Okay.
I'm always a little bit skeptical of putting in my banking username password into an app that I got. So
me too.
Yeah, I'm
paranoid.
old school. I'd rather sit and do the thing than give them access to my bank account.
Listen, just in terms of that, because I see a lot of people are SMSing us on our line, okay? You got to SMS RRH and your name to 45509 or WhatsApp 0826413555. It's not our studio numbers. This is Lourens's team's own numbers, okay? So RRH and your name 45509, WhatsApp 0826413555.
Yeah.
Okay, so now 0 points.
Yeah, so what we've done now is we've gone through, we had a look at why you are in debt in the first place, and we fixed your control of your cash flow.
Yeah.
We created a positive cash flow. Let's say that's 1,000 Rand a month that you now have. One of the things we also do is we sometimes reduce the amount that you're paying into investments for a short period until we can get rid of the debt. So if you are paying 4,000 Rand a month into RAs and endowments, let's reduce that, create more positive cash flow so that we can first get rid of the debt and start creating that cash flow on that side.
Yeah.
So once you've understood why you are there and you've created that positive cash flow, you then want to create a list of all your unsecured debt that you have. What you want on the list is what the debt was for, what is the outstanding balance, what is the absolute minimum they are willing to accept on a monthly basis for that. And you can phone them and say, listen, I'm working on a plan to get rid of my debt. What is the minimum that you will accept at this stage for me to pay? And then the interest that they are charging you. You then create a whole list of those, and then you take that positive cash flow, you choose one of those debts, whether it's the one with the highest interest or the one with the lowest balance. That's up to you. We've got a tool, our debt settlement tool, that you also get on the forum, that actually shows you the different scenarios and shows you exactly which one is the right one to choose for you. But you choose one and you pump in all of that money into that one so that you can get rid of that one debt as quickly as possible. Once you've gotten rid of the one, you take the amount that you were paying on it plus the extra amount, you add that together with the next one's minimum payment, and you start pumping that one until that is finished. And then you roll that over again to the next one, the next one, the next one. Because a lot of people, when they try and pay off their debt, they try and pay off a little bit of each. Yeah. Instead of building the momentum and focusing completely on one, getting rid of one, then moving to the next, the next.
Well, that's a panic thing. I mean, that's what you do when you start to panic. And I promise you, anybody who's been there, I can tell you as well, the panic and just the sheer anxiety the whole time.
Yeah.
And just having a plan makes all of that so much better.
It takes you from being reactive to being creative,
Yeah.
where you start creating what you want instead of reacting to people phoning you and people threatening you.
Yeah.
You're now creative. So now you going and saying to them, this is my plan. This is what I'm planning on doing. I'm going to get rid of it. Now
Yeah.
it's the ball is in your court.
Yeah, listen, there's a special place in hell for those scaly debt collection companies, I must tell you. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to move on to the coaching. Very important.
David Watts on Mix 93.8.
Mix 93.8. This is What's Involved, proudly brought to you by the Cradle Boutique Hotel. My guest in studio, Lourens Oberholzer from Retire Rich and Happy. If you want to get hold of Lourens directly, it's LOURENS at retirehappy.co.za. Lourens at retirehappy.co.za. So you started with the coaching, and
Yes.
I think this is important. And again, hands up, first person. Years ago when you mentioned coach to me, I was like,
Yeah, what are they going to do?
overachievers. What the hell do you need a coach for? Subsequently, I've qualified as a life coach, and I'm busy with my master life coaching. So, yes, okay, I get it now. And as I said, we've sort of signed up and understand this, okay? The life and times of a radio presenter and a startup business owner. It's not all a bed of roses, and we're not printing money. And yes, it costs money to do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I would rather spend money on this kind of thing than a whole bunch of other things right now. So we have decided that we're going to walk this road with you. And I think not only for us is it going to be beneficial, but to share with my listener and say, listen, this works for me.
Yes.
Because, and I mean, we had this discussion up front, and I do this with all of my guests. I said to Lourens, listen, mate, we're prepared to give it a go, but if I think it's crap, I'm going to be the first one to say so. And Lourens was like, yeah, deal.
I'm happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And with all our coaching packages, one thing I believe in is judge me on the results we get. Don't judge me on the actions I take. I've got a pet hate in careers, and I'm not going to say which ones, that get paid for taking action. And they're actually motivated not to get a result. The more action they take, the more money they get. But whether they get a result or not it doesn't mean anything. I want to be judged on the results we get for people. So as part of all our coaching packages, you've got a 3-month money back guarantee. So if you go on to coaching and after 3 months, you look back at the 3 months, you say, you know what, it hasn't made a difference. I haven't benefited from it. We give you all your money back. I don't want money from people that haven't benefited from what we've done for them.
Yeah. But this does imply that you got to do some work.
You have to buy into the whole process, and we'll very quickly tell you that you are not because our reputation is on the line.
Yeah.
Even with you, if you're not working with us, I'm going to tell you, listen, Dave, this is not going to work because you haven't committed 100% to the process.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk me through, what does it involve?
Okay, so what will happen is you will get your own personal financial coach. That means you have a person that you can run ideas by, that will show you what the right decisions are, that will help you structure, give you advice, structure a plan of action, help you with goal setting so that you have certain goals to work with. Because like any game, like any sport out there, you have to have goals to aim for. You have to have a strategy. If you go play rugby and you have no idea what your game plan is, you're probably going to lose. So you need a game plan. You need a strategy. So we will have strategies to achieve your goal. You will become one of our game changers as part of our game changer discussions, which we'll talk about a little bit about now. And you will be held accountable. That's one of the big things. You'll have somebody that says, this is what our goal was. What did you do? And then if you have to tell them why you didn't act on what you actually agreed upon, because we need to be held accountable as people. And then we will teach you the tips and the tricks to win at the game of money, because money is a game. And we're not taught the tools. We're not taught the rules of the game. Yeah. So we go through life. We come from an education system where we taught how to become a good employee. If we're lucky, a good business owner and earn some money. But they don't teach us what to do with the money once we've earned it.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I still believe entrepreneurship should be mandatory. It should be a subject.
Of course. But we go through life and people have this attitude of, you'll pick it up as you go along. So we get to 40, we're battered, we're bruised, our expenses are higher than our incomes, we're in debt, and then those same people look at us and say, but geez, you've made some stupid decisions. Why were you so irresponsible?
Yeah.
You were irresponsible because you didn't know the rules. So we're going to help you set those rules in motion.
Is part of this coaching, you mention in the forum, and I liken it to sort of 3 drums, if you will.
Yes, the buckets.
The buckets.
The bucket system. Yes. Yeah.
Is that part of
That's
it? Because this
definitely part.
bucket system, it was one of those when I smacked myself in the hand, it was like, that is so simple.
Yeah.
Why did I not think of that?
It's called VCS, Variable Cost Segregation. And it sounds very complicated, but that's why I call it the bucket system.
Yeah.
So we create a cash flow management system for you where your money goes into certain buckets, and you don't even have to think when money comes in. You know exactly if it's this kind of money, it goes to that bucket, and that's what it does.
Yeah.
So everything, we say to people, give every rand a job. And that VCS system helps you to give every rand a job.
So that's what you're going to get in the coaching too.
So I'm going to
Fantastic.
explain the different coaching. So you'll start at student level.
Yes.
So that is the first level. So as a student, your whole goal is going to be to move your zero back to zero. That is our ultimate goal as a student. So what are we going to do there is we're going to help you with your budgeting, implementing the strategic expense planning, then help you to implement VCS, the variable cost segregation, the bucket system, and then create a debt settlement strategy through our debt settlement calculator. So you'll know exactly which of the debts are going to be paid first, second, third, even how much you're going to pay on each one. Okay, so that's going to be the strategy. You're going to become part of our GCDs. GCD stands for Game Changer Discussions. So once a month, we get all the students together and we discuss different topics relating to personal finance and business finance. So we talk about these things, we make it practical, and you can share with other people that's going through this journey as well. Because it can become a very, very lonely journey for you to get yourself out of this.
Well, a lot of people, particularly people that are sort of in like where I am at the moment, I'm now reverted back to like a solopreneur almost.
Yes.
I mean, it's just the two of us in the business at this stage. And a lot of people are like that, and people doing stuff on the side also becoming very much. So to hang out with like-minded people is massive. It's a massive big thing.
And you'll have a question that you're battling with, and I promise you somebody there have had the same obstacle, and they can tell you how they've overcome it.
Yeah.
So that is the first thing. Oh, yes. And then what we also do at student level, we go in and we take away all the advisor's fees from your investments. So we manage the investments that you already have on your behalf, but that's included in your coaching fee. We don't charge extra fees on any of your investments that we manage. People underestimate what that means. I did a calculation earlier this afternoon. If you take R1 million as a lump sum investment, you invest it for 30 years at 9%, and you have a 1% cost on that every year. That 1% will cost you over that 30 years almost R4 million that you are losing because of those fees, because it's the compounding effect of those fees. So we try and get those fees off so that you don't have that compounding effect of fees. We'd rather have it in a coaching fee. A lot of clients, when we've taken all the investments, we've taken off all the fees, probably about 90% of their coaching fee is paid by just taking the fees off the investments.
Now, I want to just reiterate this because Mr. David Watts over here, who's the ultimate skeptic.
Yes.
When we were looking through this, you are not affiliated to any one insurance company or provider.
No.
You literally will look at all of them.
Yeah. We have contracts with most of the biggest companies, so we're not affiliated to one specific one that we have to do business with or want to specifically do business with. Our client is, or our boss is the client. So for us, it's all about what is in the best interest of the client. It doesn't matter whether we have to do it through a Liberty, through a Momentum. It doesn't matter to us. It's exactly the same thing.
You're looking for the best for the client.
We look at the best for the client.
And I got to tell you, to date, Lourens has been working with us, and if he can handle creatives and people like me who give him hassles all the time and will throw a big mess of things, you wanted it, fix it. It's well worth it. Monthly, let's assume that can we talk monthly costs, or are they different?
Yeah. They're different between the different levels.
Okay.
It starts anywhere from about $4.99 for a single individual on student level, going up all the way to investor level, where you have a couple, which is the highest one, a couple of $1,999, but then it's a couple at investor level. So investor level is the highest level we have in coaching.
And it's $2,000 a month.
That's $2,000 a month.
Nothing.
But then we manage investments, we manage income generating assets, and we've got a whole system where the money just keeps creating more money. So, but that's investor level. Most listeners won't get into investor level immediately. We'll start most of them at student level, and that starts at about $4.99 a month.
That's me. I'm in the preschool level at the moment.
So the levels we do have, and I know we have to finish, is it's student, then you become undergraduate, then you go graduate, and then you go investor. So there's those 4 levels that you get involved in with the coaching.
But I mean, then you've got a very, very sound understanding.
By investor level, you'll understand, and your system will be so automated that the money will automatically start generating more money.
See, this is the part I like.
Yes.
This residual income, that's the big thing. Evergreen profits, I like to call it. Lourens, we're out of time again. Jeez, okay. So once more, okay, if you'd like to get hold of Lourens directly, it's Lourens, Lourens, at retirehappy.co.za. Once more, you've still got some time. We're going to close those lines in the next 2 minutes or so. If you want to win one of those, we're giving away 3 double VIP tickets to the forum. Great place to start. And 3 coaching packages where they are going to waive the setup fee, which is valued around about $2,500. All you got to do is SMS RRH and your name to, now listen closely, not our SMS number, 45509, or you can WhatsApp RRH and your name to 082 641 3555. So there you go. There you have it. Lourens, thank you so much once again.
See you next month.
Just got to wait.
Hopefully I do 2 hours next month.
Maybe we must do something like that. Let's talk to the powers that be. We certainly wouldn't have a problem filling them.
No, we'll quickly talk to you.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's have a look at that. Until next time, guys, thank you so much. Remember, if you've got anything for me as well, any comments, any feedback, you can email me, David at whatsinvolved, WATTSINVOLVED.co.za, and I'll happily get back to you. I'll chat to you. Any guests that you can suggest for me, any questions you have, anything you'd like to do on the second hour. Should we get more touchy-feely and esoteric in the second hour, or do we stick to the same format as what I have been doing? Right, up until then, you have yourselves a wonderful time. One last thing, thank you so much for listening.
David Watts on Mix 93.8.